Our guest today is a Super Bowl champion, a 7-year NFL veteran with the Giants, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Panthers. But he's the true definition of the phrase more than an athlete because he's a writer, a director, a producer, an investor, an entrepreneur, an artist. He's the inspiration behind the CW hit series All American, which is in its 4th season, and he's just getting started. Today, he's getting in the zone. Welcome, Spencer Paysinger.
Yes, thank you for having me. You got it. Well, first off, I don't like to say the Jets.
Oh, you don't even like to say
I never played a regular season for them. I got cut, so I'm like, they're off the card.
Hold on, let me get a pen. I'm crossing.
But I will say that was like the best intro I've ever heard of myself. So like, I need that after and just like hand that to people.
I got you. That's right. You were just getting started, and take that, New York Jets. That's right. You're out. You're out of this. I already crossed it off there. Well, I appreciate you coming here and getting in the zone with me. You're a busy man. You're doing a lot, as you could hear from some of that, the bio, and I barely even like scratch the surface of all that you've got going on. But we know, as you're now, in the content game, you're a great producer. If you were producing this show or anything, it's like you can't just like dive right in. No. You got to like ease into it a little bit. You don't go right to the main course.
You got to step in.
You got to get started with
appetizers,
some apps. Exactly. I'm glad you said that because this is our first segment here on In the Zone called Starters. And I got a little special treat for you. I know you're here in LA, so let's bring it in. One of your favorite things in the city of Los Angeles from Katsu Sando. It's the A5 Wagyu sandwich to get things started. Let's go.
What? Hold on. Who told you about this?
I got sources everywhere.
You talked to my wife?
I know people.
I got to eat it on
You don't have to, but I mean, you might want to take a bite.
I think I'm like an ugly eater. So.
What? So tell me, go for it. Oh, man. Legit. Yeah, that's Japanese Wagyu flown in from Japan. This is like serious.
Who went across town for this?
That
Respect.
would be KT right here making it happen. Yeah.
This is like a $90 sandwich.
Yeah, I know. We bought it for you, Spencer. I know.
You can write it off. It's fine. But this is... It's to me, it's one of the best, like most simple sandwiches in the city.
Most simple sandwiches. Just a $90 piece of Wagyu.
Simple in terms of just as you can see, it doesn't need much to be good.
Yeah. Well, all right. Okay. Oh.
See, that all is worth $90.
Oh yeah, that is legit. So like onion in there is like a crispy onion flavor on it.
It just like caramelizes onto the meat so well, and obviously there's some nice fat in there, but the flavor is all there. Well worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. Yeah, not bad. All right, thank you. This was a good tip.
Next time you go, because there will be a next time, get the fries too. Some of the best like crisp cut fries.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean this throughout the whole show. So
why do you love this so much? Why is this meaningful to you right now?
I got this sandwich from a recommendation. You know how you like don't trust your friends with food recommendations?
Well, some. Yeah.
Some. Yeah. Exactly. Some. Yeah. I have maybe only 3 people in this world who great friends that I only trust their food advice. Like restaurants, whenever I'm in a new city and I know they've been there, I strategically go to them. So I got word of this sandwich from my friend Noah Preston. Shout out to Noah. I saw him on Instagram going to this place, and literally the next day I was there with my wife trying it out because I know if Noah goes somewhere, it's undeniably good. Like he doesn't waste time or money on like mid foods
or a meal. Doesn't waste that at real estate. Yeah.
No. So saw him go, text him like, "Where's this? Send me the address." Next day I was there with my wife, and since then I've been back like maybe once a month, once every other month because it's that frequent. Good. They have a walnut shrimp sando as well. Highly recommended. Ooh. And I'm allergic to nuts. So that shows you how much I like it.
You're allergic to the sandwich, but you like it that much.
Yes.
Okay. What are the side effects of the sandwich?
My throat doesn't close up or anything like that.
Good. Like, you don't die from it.
I have a blood disorder to where I don't know if I'm like giving somebody like my kryptonite out there.
I don't know.
My blood, I guess, doesn't have the right enzymes to break down like nuts, legumes, and a bunch of other little things. But it just makes me tired because my body doesn't understand what's in my body. So it breaks down like all my energy goes towards breaking down that food. So if I'm ever like if I can't sleep, which is rare,
Yeah.
like I could legit eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and it's like a nuke, and
Wow.
I'll be sleeping an hour later.
This
So,
would have been valuable intel for your opponents in your, football playing days for
See?
sure. Just like get
Safe space.
Yeah, now
We're in a
you're
safe
safe space. It's okay. I don't know. I mean, there might be like a rival producer pitching something that's like going to put peanuts before a big pitch meeting.
I
But
hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. I think you're safe, and you're safe with this sandwich
Yes.
too. So yeah, just easing you into things here. Again, it started. Now
Again, thank you for this.
You are welcome.
Wow.
That's right. Good, good. Now, you are here. You're from Los Angeles. You're born in Crenshaw. Tell me a little bit about what Crenshaw is like for someone who doesn't know, kind of where you grew up in the neighborhood that you came from.
Yeah, I grew up off of Slauson and Western. I always make the comparison that if you've seen Boys in the Hood, movies like Menace to Society, like I grew up 2 blocks away from where they filmed Boys in the Hood. In the mid '90s. I was born in 1988, so it was definitely of the time watching that movie. So, a lot of people think when you're in South Central, it's violence and gangs and you're running from every single day. It wasn't really that. Like, yes, that was there, but what I experienced growing up in South Central is a strong family dynamic. The fact that I can run inside anybody's house on my block because we were just that tight-knit community. Some of the kids I grew up with, I played at one specific park that we shoot in the show All American still to this day. Like, I played with probably 6 or 7 of those kids on my block at my park. Yeah. So it was definitely like territorial of different kids from different blocks all playing on different teams. And it's like, not only did you beat, the kids on the other block, you beat them at Van Ness as well, which is the park that I played at. But overall, like a rich family dynamic. The violence was there. Gang influences were there. I had family and friends that went into that life. But overall, to me, I had literally an all-American upbringing, and I pun intended.
Right.
Intended.
Well, a lot of people know your story from the show All American, but they don't know that that is your story.
Yes.
And so you grew up there in South Central LA, but you then went to Beverly Hills High School and kind of were in 2 different worlds, 2 different universes, both who, if you met anyone from either of those places, would say, I'm from LA, but that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And for you, you're kind of in these 2 different worlds. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it. I'm sure you've gotten into it a lot in interviews and in the past, but what was that experience like for you? Because I heard you didn't want to go to Beverly Hills High School.
No, definitely didn't want to go to Beverly. And I'd always known I had to go to Beverly, as opposed to how I was portrayed on the show where, I'm at Crenshaw initially and then I go to Beverly. From 8th grade, I automatically went to Beverly because, one, my uncle was the head football coach there. My older brother at the time was a senior there. My dad and a few other of my uncles were coaches there. One of my aunts was the head physician there. The locker room is named the Paysinger family locker room.
Wow.
So like the Paysinger family is sort of an institution at Beverly to the point where, we had a Paysinger, my little cousin, shout out to Raina. She graduated last year from Beverly. So the Paysinger family goes back to the 70s when my uncle was the 2nd generation to integrate Beverly Hills High School.
Wow.
And that experience, even though I knew I was going to Beverly, was still somewhat different because I grew up around predominantly Black and Latino kids all my life. I went to school in the Inglewood School District. And when I knew I had to go to Beverly, I wanted to instead go to either Culver City, where my friends were going, Inglewood, where other friends were going, and just kind of wanted to still be in that little bubble of Inglewood. So knowing that I was the only kid that I knew at the time going to Beverly, it was definitely that fish out of water story of just, not really knowing like the social hierarchy. Because at Beverly, there are 4 middle schools that all port into the high school. So those kids coming in with me, they've known each other since they were like literally in preschool.
Right.
They've kind of grown up together. Here I come, the left turn out of it all. But definitely different. But I think overall it allowed me to sort of integrate with different cultures and ethnicities at such a young age to the point where I could walk into any room now and feel comfortable because I know how to empathize, respect, and just understand different cultures.
Yeah, absolutely. But talk a little bit about what it was like that first year going to Beverly. I mean, you had to wake up early in the morning, to make it happen. It's like not a typical high school experience that most kids have.
Yeah, I had to wake up anytime, anywhere between 4:30, 5 o'clock my freshman year to, get my little brother ready,
Yeah.
have my mom drop us off at my uncle's house because my uncle had a period 0 at Beverly, which started at 7 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And he lives in Ladera, so that's, with traffic and whatnot, it's a 40-minute drive no matter what time you wake up. So
Yeah.
I always make like, I didn't choose to be a morning person. I was kind of forced to be it, and now it's like all I know. Like I can't just sit in bed now and just be like I have to.
Still, you wake up early. It's like ingrained in you.
If I sleeping in is like seeing 7 a.m. when you wake up. Like I'm always up before then. So,
Yeah.
but the trek getting there in the morning was, again, it was just normal for me. It was normal to wake up before the sun came up. It was normal to get my little brother up. Normal to fight across town to get to my uncle's house, and then us together fighting traffic. Like he taught me how to drive those mornings at 5:30 in the morning in his big old expedition trying to get to Beverly. Like that's literally how I learned how to drive. So hella early, but like had to do it.
Wow, you just make it happen. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, you've been making it happen your whole life, your whole career, and you went on to play in the NFL for 7 years, never defined by that, which I admire and respect. I've always said that you saw that as a job, not a career, a period and a chapter of your life. But this next segment we play here on In the Zone is called In the Zone. And I want to know what that means to you to get in the zone. You hear professional athletes all the time talk about this feeling, this space of when they're in the zone, what it's like when things slow down. It feels like it's slow motion, or basketball players feel like they're shooting it into the ocean. They just can't miss. You now, both in what you do currently in the creative pursuits, in producing, directing, writing, and previously as a professional athlete, what does it mean to you to get in the zone? And can you describe what that place is for you?
Yeah, that zone, and I've only really experienced it, and I think a lot of athletes only experience it less than a handful of times in their entire career. Even if you think they, like, as a fan, if you're watching, like, oh, that player had a great game, he just probably had a great game. But like being in a zone only happens, I'd say, half a dozen times in a player's career where there's this feeling where you feel like your energy can move mountains. Like your focus is locked in. You're not worrying about anybody else. You don't hear the fans. And when these players are playing this game and they're in the zone, usually they're around potentially 20K plus fans.
Yeah.
You don't hear the fans. Wow. You know your assignment. You don't question yourself. You don't question your ability. You know whoever lines up across from you or your job assignment is already done before it's done. Yeah. I know specific moments, even in my head right now, I'm thinking to some of those moments where it's like anything could have been put in front of me in that moment and it would have gotten done.
Yeah.
I would have made the play. I would have made the interception. I would have made the tackle.
Well, what's one of those moments that did pop into your head thinking about that?
Yeah, there was one play. It was one of the best games I ever played in the NFL, where it was the Giants versus the Chiefs. We were playing the Chiefs at Arrowhead, and this is when Jamal Charles was still like at the height of his game. And we weren't playing that well that year. I was a starting linebacker for the Giants. I had the headset and everything. And you knew who Jamal Charles was at this time, and there were a handful of moments where I was matched up against him. And specifically, one moment he flexed out from the backfield, and the assignment means I have to go cover him with like almost no safety help. I literally hear our defensive coordinator yelling to our safety like, switch with Spencer. And I'm looking at him like, I'm waving him off, waving the safety off like, no, I got this. Like, again, I felt like I was in the zone.
Yeah.
Because I had a few tackles by that point, a few pass breakups, and I was completely myself in the moment.
Sure.
Jamal Charles, he does a slant route. I bite on it, break it up. Antrell comes and like scoops it right before it hits the ground for an interception. And I'm literally staring at my defensive coordinator like, I told you I had it. So it was just like, that was one of those moments where it's like, I don't care who lines up across from me. Like if I'm in this moment, like there's nobody that can play against me.
And how do you get into that zone now, whether it be writing, directing, producing, what you're doing currently? Have you found a different way to channel that similar kind of feeling, that space where you're locked in?
I feel like you never know you're in the zone until you're already in it. And you kind of reflect when you have that moment to reflect, where now for me, it's sitting in my office and words are just flowing out of me effortlessly. It's setting up scenes, it's seeing an entire script, in your head, and you're able to efficiently get it out on paper how you saw it in your head. That's a big thing for me, getting more and more comfortable with, is having these big ideas for scripts in my head, but when I put them down on paper, it just doesn't come out exactly how I want. And again, I'm still a student of screenwriting and all that, but those few moments where it's coming out exactly how you envision it is my new version of being in the zone.
Okay, well, it's working. It's working for you for sure.
It's doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you're doing all right. You're building and it's going great, man. Now, you go from Beverly Hills High School, playing football there, and you play at Oregon, a huge football program, a great school. How did you decide to go to Oregon, University of Oregon?
Yeah, I was a receiver in high school. All my scholarship offers were to play receiver at all the colleges except for Oregon. Oregon was the only school that said there's a chance you could play on defense. So initially there were talks to recruit me as an athlete and then possibly convert me afterwards, but in my head, I was a receiver. At Beverly, I played safety as well, down safety most of the time. And there was one game specifically against Torrance High School that they ran a wing tee, and my whole game was setting the edge and making the tackles. I had about 12 or 13 tackles that game. That was a game that Oregon offered me a scholarship for afterwards. And I had committed to Colorado for 2 weeks as a receiver. And my dad and my uncle pretty much sat me down and were like, remove football from the equation, go on these recruiting trips. Where can you live for 4 to 5 years? Because the football spiel during recruitment is all going to be the same. We're going to do this, here are the jerseys, here are our facilities, here are our coaches, walk the campus, whatnot. Where can you go where you feel like you can just live as a person for 4 to 5 years? And Colorado was fun, but just walking around Oregon, it definitely felt like home. I had a cousin that was playing there at the time. I was familiar with the coaches because they're good friends with my family, so I knew they weren't going to. To me, it just didn't feel like they were gonna lie to me like they possibly have done to other athletes because they had that family tie to my family.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just felt like I was going to an extended family going up to Oregon.
It's a beautiful place too.
Yeah.
I've been to Eugene. It's gorgeous up there. Great part of the country, and the athletes get treated pretty well there too. Oh man, the Nike University swag you got it there. Yeah, for sure. Now you have a great collegiate career, and in your final season in college, your last game that you ever played was the national championship game.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that game. I mean, the biggest stage, you're undefeated coming into this to be on like the biggest high, but obviously it didn't end the way that you wanted.
Yeah, it was interesting because I didn't really feel the weight of the game until there was a timeout, I think in the second quarter, where I come up to my linebacker coach and he's talking. I'm just kind of like looking around and seeing the spectacle. And I'm thinking like, damn, there's probably like 20 million people watching this at home, and I'm on the field and they're watching me. And, 2 quarters later, I could possibly have a national championship, the first in Oregon's history. So the whole experience going against Cam Newton and the Auburn Tigers were so surreal because at Oregon, we knew we were on a crash course to meet them. Earlier in that season, I think Auburn started like 15th in the country. And every week you just saw like who Cam Newton became that season. And we knew probably at the start of November, like if we went out, we're definitely seeing them. So being in that game, going against him, going against some of the, the SEC allure, everybody thinks SEC is like better than every other conference. And there's some truth to that, but like a lot of false. It was cool because I feel like we definitely got the respect of a lot of those players because it wasn't a blowout. They didn't manhandle us. It literally came down to a last second fluke play where, the running back, technically he was down, but he ended up scampering for another like 30 yards when everybody thought he was down. That's a conversation for another day. But
we can get into it.
Yeah, he was down. I would say he was down.
Yeah.
But no, overall it was a great experience. Like obviously we lost, but I can confidently say in one calendar year I went from playing a national championship to playing in a Super Bowl.
Not only just playing in the Super Bowl, but winning the Super Bowl, which is an incredible story in itself. If that were the story alone, that would be worthy of a television show, going from the national championship game losing to being undrafted in the 2011 NFL draft to then signing as a free agent and winning the Super Bowl. And that leads us to our next segment here on In the Zone called Rewind, where we're going to take a look back at various moments throughout your life and career and hear the inside story. So let's cue up our very
did your
first
homework.
clip.
I like this.
Oh, yeah, man. That's right. Yeah, we're not messing around. This is the big leagues. We got the champ here.
Yeah,
let's go. Let's see our first clip.
Welcome to the after party of the man who made that game-stealing strip Well, how's that feel? Beverly Hills High School kid, no left, going from Beverly Hills to the Super Bowl. How's it feel?
It's amazing. It's amazing. There's no words to describe this right now. My family's in the stands. This is no words. There's no words. Undrafted rookie going to the Super Bowl. Special teams plays. I think that was a big difference. They had 2 turnovers on special teams.
This is funny.
And in a game like this, you can't do that.
You make everything hard.
You can't count us out. A month and a half ago, nobody thought we would be here. Guys in the locker room got together and said, we'll get back here. We'll get back to San Francisco, and once we do, we'll win this game.
That whole interview was a mistake, by the way.
Yeah.
So Jay Glazer thought I was the guy that stripped the ball out to like seal us to like go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And any clip you see, like Jaquan Williams, shout out to Jaquan, number 57 for the Giants. He was another rookie with me coming in. He stripped it, and then I forget who picked it up. But I'm just the 2 feet running past the screen at the top of the screen, like celebrating. It was nowhere near the ball. But Jay sees me, and he's like, Spencer, come here. Like, how was it stripping the ball? And I'm like,
Just go with
messed
it.
up. But like, oh yeah, it was great. Like, it was great. The team stripped the ball. It was great. Jaquan stripped the ball, but like, it's a great experience. So I was just like cautious that entire thing because I didn't want to take the shine away from Jaquan at the time. But
Right.
I think I played it off pretty well.
That's amazing. And I mean, it's just crazy. The whole story going from, like we said, undrafted to then winning the Super Bowl in that season, your first season in the NFL. That's something you can't even write in a script or a TV show, a movie. It wouldn't be believable. Can you describe what that feeling was like when you're playing in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 46? You defeat the New England Patriots. Not many people picked the Giants over the Patriots coming into that one, and then to kind of reach the pinnacle when you're just beginning your professional career. What was that like?
Well, I mean, it was deemed a rematch because and a lot of people, the 2011 Super Bowl was kind of like the Phantom Super Bowl because whenever I say, oh, I beat the Patriots, they're like, oh, were you part of the helmet catch in 07? I'm like, no, first, I'm not that old. Second of all, no, this is the rematch. Yeah. But it was cool because, as a West Coast kid, I didn't really grow up, knowing the hatred that, the Patriots and the Giants had since that first Super Bowl and them ruining, the undefeated season with Moss and those guys. So I'm in it with them and understanding the weight, the gravity of the moment just made everything that much better. It's, Tom Brady being an all-time, to me, he's the GOAT of quarterbacks. I would say he's one of the best winners of all time. But being able to be on that field, I think I recorded like 2 special team tackles that game. I completely cried my eyes out as soon as the ball dropped in the end zone, and I knew that we had won. So amazing experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. And we just had our 10-year reunion, I think about a month or so ago. So I got to see all those ugly faces again, like being in the locker room with them, being at the stadium with them. It was just cool. It was like you would think that guys have changed over time and even body types have changed. Everybody still looks pretty much the same.
Yeah. You're ready to run it back is what it sounds like.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to hit anybody anymore.
Yeah, right. Well, you go from winning the Super Bowl, this crazy high, to our next thing I want to show you here. And tell me the story behind the scenes of this moment here. You at the White House meeting President Obama. Describe a little bit, maybe some behind-the-scenes stories of what this day was like and this moment.
This was, to me, one of the coolest moments I ever had. It was just kind of a culmination of everything that we've been through as a team to obviously having the first black president shake my hand. Kind of nervous because I was like, how am I going to do it? So as you can see, so I come in with the power handshake. Like,
you got
shake the hand, grab the wrist, like, how you doing? But he countered with the bicep, and as soon as he did, I was like, "Oh, you've done this before."
He knows.
You're good. You're good. So next time I meet him,
got the higher ground.
Yeah, he saw it and was like, "No, you think you got me? I got you back."
That's amazing.
But next time I meet him, I'm gonna definitely come with something different. Hopefully, I don't get taken down by Secret Service.
Right.
I got some
2 hands around the shoulders,
Yeah, but no, it was just it was a great moment. I didn't realize how personable he was at this time because. This guy, he got elected. Obama got elected when I was in school. I remember doing my econ homework, seeing, the news pop off that he had won and having that moment, not getting a chance to celebrate in Eugene because I think I had an econ test the next day or something or practice the next day.
Okay, right.
But to stand in front of him, realizing he's every bit of 6'1", 6'2", didn't realize that. And I was like, okay, you got my next vote.
Yeah, right. Nice. I like that. Wow, it must be an amazing experience to be there with all your teammates, celebrating the win, and then, like you said, Barack Obama, the first African American president.
Yes.
There you are, and you think back your journey where it all began. You know, South Central LA, and here you are, like at the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again, I still need to get him back for that handshake.
Yeah, the power move, man. Power move. All right, let's take a look at this next thing here. This is, I'm wondering if this is something that happened before all of your games, because this is something, a text message that you received from your mom.
Yeah.
So I'll just read it out loud. Good morning, son. It's a beauteous day, isn't it? Play hard, play smart, hit hard, hit clean. Focus, focus, focus. Stay healthy, stay hydrated, stay flexible. You are where you are for a reason. Show everybody that you will handle any responsibility given to you. Love you, Mom.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Every week.
Every week?
Every week since I think in college, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, every week she would send me, and they would be the most corniest texts ever.
That's amazing,
but like,
though.
Me and my mom together, like we lean into the corny together.
Yeah.
So like literally every week it's something inspirational like this, and you expect it, and even when it still comes, it's just one of those moments that you can have. Obviously, you're about to go out onto the field and hit grown men for the next 3 hours, but to have that moment, literally every Sunday and Saturday in college with my mom was always something I just never took for granted. Like I always appreciated that moment to like sit with her in that and take it all in.
That's amazing. What does she mean to you to have her support throughout all these years in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here talking to you unless she kind of handles a lot of the burden that came with some of my upbringing. Like there's still things that I don't know that she had to endure that she's kept from me because she was like, no, like you need to have blinders on and get where you want to go. So just having her be in my corner, stay in my corner, like I never wanted to do something that, just would have her friends or our family like question her raising me. Like I always like when I'm out here in the city, making the moves that I'm making, doing what I'm doing, I like the fact that her friends and, her sisters and family, whatever, are saying like, hey, we heard Spencer doing this, we heard Spencer doing that. And I'm like, yeah, because you taught me how to sort of move in this city and just not really, throw dirt on your last name.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I can be like a shining point in her life.
Cool. Well, that's amazing to get text messages like that. She still sends you inspirational texts from time to time?
They've just gotten cornier over the years. Actually, like this is 2013, so if you fast forward 8-9 years, like it's off the Richter now. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. Let's go to the next one right here. This is back in the day, like way, way back in the day. Mm-hmm. I want to know what you would say to this kid that we're about to show right here if he knew the journey that he had ahead of him.
Man, I would say to the kid on the right, wash your face more because I had a pimple in this photo.
Oh,
if you guys zoom in, big pimple, and it was like the night before. I'm doing everything to try to like get rid of it because I'm like, I had my first ever like high school photos.
Yeah.
So like wash your face more. Obviously.
Okay, that's good advice.
Kid on the left. This is when I was a ball boy for Beverly. This had to have dated me. Wow. With those glasses, I would say 98, maybe 99. Thinking I'm tough.
Look at that
Obviously,
scowl.
I got the little
I don't know if the sun's
scowl.
in your eye there, but yeah.
But this was me just like sort of idolizing the guys that came before me at Beverly. Like Beverly had a rich football culture throughout the 80s and 90s, even back in the 70s. But in the 90s, there's still guys that didn't play beyond high school that I still in my head idolized because I was their ball boy.
Yeah.
So it's just that kid that idolized the greats that came through Beverly, but just telling him to both these kids, just stay the course. I don't have a lot of regrets from my high school years and just keep going. Just keep going. I wish I could have worn 9 a little bit more in my career, but now you can with the NFL and college.
Number.
But
right.
I think these kids are on the right track.
I think so too. And let's take a look at this last thing right here, because your story, which we've talked a little bit on, turned into the very successful show All American on the CW, and it all started with an idea that looked a little something like this.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read that? You want to read it?
You can read it if you want.
I'll read it.
Yeah.
I'll read it. Okay. So this is back on August 18th, 2016. You wrote this. I didn't know where to fit in. My adolescence was no stranger to witnessing shootouts, drive-bys, and dead bodies. Yet my formative years were spent around teens that used unlimited allowances to fuel their drug addictions. How do you appeal to two entirely different cultures? Being a 14-year-old black kid from South Central enrolling into Beverly Hills High School, assimilating into one side would almost ensure isolation in the other. The biggest game of my life wasn't spent between chalked lines, but rather navigating my way towards acceptance from both sides of Pico Boulevard. And frankly, I'm not so sure I'll ever be done playing.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit, what is this?
This is the first ever anything that started All-American.
Wow.
So, and I think I have a hint that you may have gotten this from my guy Dane.
Maybe.
I see the writing. I'm like, I know what that is. But August 18th, 2016, I'm in my second year playing for the Miami Dolphins. We're in fall camp. And I get a call from my now producing partner, Dane Mork. Shout out to Dane. Yeah. In that offseason, I had a conversation between him and our friend Robbie Rogers, who is Greg Berlanti's now husband, then fiance. And an idea that they were working on was sort of dead in the water, talking about their upbringing in Palos Verdes, the peninsula area. And they had sort of just kind of pitched me based on a conversation that me and him had a few months prior to this, just about growing up in LA and, you know, me being from South Central, Dane being from Palos Verdes, and us saying we're from Los Angeles, but having two completely different upbringings. He called me and said, hey, I kind of like soft pitched you out of nowhere, just like you as a person. Yeah. You went to Beverly, you're from South Central. Like, do you think you could write up something that can like encapsulate what that experience was? And I remember I forget the team. It might have been Tampa Bay at this time, but I was studying against Tampa Bay, like playbook open, writing down my plays, middle of fall camp. I'm like, okay, bet. It took me about 2 hours to write this. It was like way longer, then way shorter, then, and I finally settled on this is the paragraph that I think encapsulates it. It's like everything in this is true, from the dead bodies to the drive-bys, seen it all. And I think the line that really caught them was, you know, the biggest game of my life wasn't spent between chalk lines, but rather navigating my way towards acceptance from both sides of Pico Boulevard. And frankly, I'm not so sure I'll ever be done playing. That was a line that when Warner Brothers or Greg Berlanti called, they said there's something here based on that one line. Yeah. There's something here to explore. So this led to getting a meeting with Greg Berlanti's company later on in the year. And January, I think the second week of January, I made that appointment with them, just told them stories, and 2 weeks later we were in contract negotiations.
Wow. It happened pretty fast, and there clearly was something there. It's incredible writing, and I see why you are a writer too, though, to be able to sum up that experience so eloquently of everything that you went through and being in these two worlds, like you said. Do you still, in some respects, feel that way at all?
Yeah, I think it's sort of different worlds now where, you know, I feel like I'm constantly fighting the idea that I'm just like a football player in this space, and I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of like the production side and being in the rooms and all that. But I'm on the ground. I'm boots to ground to a lot of the properties and ideas that I'm producing and or writing right now. So, and that's no shade to any other athletes that are getting into this game. Sure. But I feel like if you are an athlete and are pushing stories along, you need to be in those rooms helping guide those stories, because you have an experience that you can draw from that. Even if a writer has written sports for the past 20, 30 years of life, like they can't dive into those streams of knowledge that you just accumulated over the years. So just be boots to ground if you're on a project.
Well, it's amazing how this text, this this paragraph right here, became what it did, and turned into All American, this hit television show that's about you and your life. And I know from here there was many steps along the way, including you were recording sort of a pitch, you describing this while you were at practice in New Jersey, like about to, go out to the practice field and getting that right too. And, from that happening to when you were released by the Carolina Panthers, a lot of players would be devastated by that news. This might be the end of their career. You did not have that reaction.
No.
You were excited by being released, so you
Yeah.
could focus on this. I mean, tell me a little bit more about that moment.
Yeah, this is my third week with Carolina. I'm now vested into my 7th year, fully vested. So I get the pension that comes with the 7th year.
Yeah.
And earlier that week, I think it's Wednesday. I'm literally writing in my defensive playbook a synopsis to a short film that 2 or 3 years later I end up filming.
Yeah.
But in that room, I mean, you got Julius Peppers over here, you got Luke Kuechly over here, Shaq Thompson, Thomas Davis, like these guys that will like all find their way to the Hall of Fame once it's all said and done. And I'm writing a film synopsis like in my defensive playbook. And it was that moment that I realized this is when we were already working on All-American. I was a free agent most of my last season. So I was working out in the morning and then working with our writer at the time, crafting the pilot. So I went through this experience that I thought could serve as a short film, ended up writing it, and I look up and like 30 minutes had passed. I didn't know who was talking in the room. I probably had one of my worst like practices ever because I just didn't write down any of the plays.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, I'll get it on the field later.
All right.
And that's when I walked out of that room, that's when I was like, okay, I know without a doubt this is my last year. I knew it was going to be my last year, but every athlete thinks maybe I can get one more. Maybe I can just like strain for one more.
Right.
Walking out of that room that day, I was like, this is my last year no matter what. So 2 days later, on Friday, when we're gearing up to fly to Atlanta, it was the last game of the season, my bag wasn't there. And I'm like, my travel bag isn't here. And they're like, we'll get it for you in a little bit. You just give us a second. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but
I've seen Hard Knocks too many times. Yeah, right.
So I'm in the weight room stretching, and the Reaper comes. Everybody knows who the Reaper is. Hey, Spencer, can we grab your coach wants to talk to you and everything.
Man,
I'm like, am I getting cut? And he's like, I just
Coach needs to talk to you. Yeah.
I'm like, you're the Reaper. You need to know this. So I go into the room, and Coach Rivera's there with a handful of his coaches, and it's very somber. He's like, Spencer, really enjoy having you, but it's kind of a, last in, first out type thing. We need to secure the defensive line. We've had injuries, as you know. And I'm like, okay, like, no problem. Like, who can I talk to about going home? You guys win it all. Like, I know I get a ring even if you guys go out and do it. Because I was ready to get back home because this was the sign that I needed to like fully cut ties with playing and get home, tell my wife, my daughter's 6 months at the time, and I'm like, hey babe, got cut today. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, no. Should we pack up this apartment now and be on like the flight in 3 hours, or are we staying the weekend? Like, we need to make this decision. We packed up the apartment in like 4 hours, I think, and I think took a red eye or early the next day, and I was back in my neighborhood having a New Year's Eve party the next day. So
Wow.
And that's when I retired.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. When one door closes, another one opens, and you started this great second, chapter in your life. And as I mentioned earlier, I've always respected the fact that in doing research on you, that football is a part of your life.
Yep.
It's not your entire life. And what you've gone on to do since then with All-American and even beyond that. I mean, directing, you just had your first short film, is that correct? Yeah. I mean, tell me about that.
Yeah, so my first short film was actually based on a synopsis that I wrote in the Panthers locker room.
Wow.
So during that time, I think it was at like 2 months that I was a free agent during the 2017 season, my barber vanished. And as a black man, like, your barber is like, it's like girlfriend, mom, barber, wife, mom, barber. And even like girlfriend, mom, for some people can be a little tricky.
Right. We saw the text.
Yeah, but I get the same from my barber. But my barber just vanished. Like, I would text him, no response, call him, no response. I ended up going to his shop. Even the people that he had worked with were like, oh man, we haven't seen him in like 2 months. I'm like, this guy helps pay the rent here. Like, how do you guys not know he's technically missing at this point? So I kind of took that experience. I was like going around to other barbers, they were messing up my hair. I was cutting my hair myself, which I can do, but like, you always like to, get touched by an actual professional hands.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting enough to write a film on it. Just a black man understanding, a black man trying to deal with his barber going missing and technically like dating around Los Angeles, all these different barbers. To only just come back and realize that the barber that the original barber that he had before the one that went missing was all he needed, which is an ode to my barber that cut my very first haircut, and it's cut 4 generations of my family's hair. So that was my first directing anything. I'd already done about 2 seasons of All American, just absorbing the set and absorbing how directors moved and talked to the actors. And I was like, I think I can do this. So that was my first anything. But that whole script started when I was in a defensive meeting room, not paying attention.
Wow. It's all full circle. You were laying the groundwork for what was next. And All American, so many people know your story, of your story. Obviously, they take some creative liberties, but it is based on you. Originally, the pilot was called Spencer. That ended up settling on All American.
I was so ready for it to be called Spencer.
Man, right?
I was gonna climb up to like the posters and like take a picture
on
next
the
to it. Like,
billboard.
oh, just this whole thing.
Oh, humble brag. Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, it is Spencer James is Spencer Paysinger. And what was it like when you saw that pilot for the first time and you're watching on a big screen like your life?
It was surreal because, I'm in the pilot, but having first off, I messed up like 5 takes when we were filming it because they were called Spencer, and I'm in the background. I'm like, what? Like, I'm literally looking where Spencer James supposed to be looking, and just had to get used to that. Now I'm real Spencer on set. They call me real Spencer. But that whole experience was so crazy because, there are definitely things in the pilot that, sometimes are like word for word, how it happened in real life. There's some moments in the pilot that I wrote that I changed. So to see those acted out on a grand scale like that, and then people actually like it, was something that just, it completely redefined the goals that I wanted in my life. You look back 2 years before that, I'm like, I want to be a starting linebacker. You fast forward, I'm like, I want to write as many scripts as possible in this industry. So it was kind of I would say the moment that I realized like everything that I'd done up to this point like made sense to get me to this point. Like there was kind of some uncertainty of if I should play another year while we were still getting the show off the ground and that, but seeing it on TV at that moment and being in New York during upfronts and people, it was technically tested as CW's highest rated pilot ever.
Wow.
So the fact that words that I helped write and a story about a young black kid from South Central, like having that kind of impact, it was crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm still trying to like understand it.
It is crazy. And that people all over the country, all over the world, as this translated different languages too, like get a chance to meet the characters, but meet you and get a glimpse of what you have lived and the story you had to tell. And that, in turn inspires more and more people, to believe what is possible.
No, I love it because, and I always make the joke that like 13-year-old girls and like 60-year-old men are in my DMs about the same topics about All American. So the fact that the show can pull on so many different topics and still be culturally specific to these 2 areas of Beverly Hills and South Central, but still allow for a broader conversation about sports, about LGBTQI community, just everything under the sun that we can pull from the newspapers and make it make sense in the All-American sort of universe. I love it because I always say like every 7 to 10 years, there is that high school show that comes out that kind of, captures the high school experience. You have like, I don't know, it's One Tree Hill, Dawson's Creek, Varsity Blues, like those type of stories. And the fact that All American is now up there with those shows, it's just great. Friday Night Lights as well. It's a big comp for our show is Friday Night Lights. But
absolutely,
I'm just happy that we can be sort of in that stream with them.
Definitely. Well, it's a great story. It's a great show. I mean, so many fans around the country and great stories to tell. And you're just getting started doing that. And here in the Zone, we're just getting started with the games we like to play. Right, so it's time for our next game. This is called Association Word Association, where we are going to open a box of Panini 2021 NFL trading cards. We're going to open this box up. We've got a pack to choose from here. Thank you. Big shout out to our friends over at Panini. All right, so I'm going to pick this pack of cards right here. It's beautiful. This is a very valuable box, by the way, of cards. So, again, thank you, Panini, for making this possible. All right. There are 7 cards in this pack, and word association. I'm going to show you a player. The first thing that comes to your mind, you tell me about it. Gotcha. Unfiltered. Don't think about it. Don't be political on me now, Spencer, all right? And if you don't know the guy, maybe it's about the team. Maybe it's about the city. It's like what comes to mind when you see it. Here we go. All right. Panini.
Should I close my eyes? Or
Nah, well, you might
right.
need them when you see these guys. Here we go. All right. Here are our cards. First up, we have, these are beautiful cards. Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, underrated. I would say he's highly underrated. I know Atlanta's going through a lot of turmoil, but that guy always produces.
All right. Okay. This next guy, Kirk Cousins.
Man, longevity. I had a chance to train with him. I think 1 year, but great guy all around.
Okay, nice. All right. How about, this is a nice card. Actually, this is, I think, a very valuable card. There's only 75 of these. It's number 28 of 75, Kyler Murray.
Oh, I mean, what can he do? I would say versatile.
Yeah.
I mean, number 1 draft pick, and then you could have been number 1 draft pick in 2 different sports.
Right?
Versatility.
Crazy. All right, I'm putting this one to the side. 28 of 75. Thank you, Panini.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this next one we have from the Tennessee Titans. This one's also rare. It's a rookie card, number 25 of 49, Caleb Farley.
Don't know him.
All right.
Unknown.
How about? Well, it's too bad because that's 25 of 49. I wish he was known. Titans. First thing that comes to your mind.
Titans, scrappy. Scrappy.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Got
Here we
some
go.
size on that one.
10 of 25. It has a piece of his jersey in here. It might be giving you flashbacks. Jason Witten.
Just slightly unguardable. I would say unguardable.
Yeah.
Size. He has like hips of basketball players, so he always posts you up.
Right.
Some great battles against him.
Here, you
but
want to
almost
flashback? Feel the jersey
Let me
right
see.
there?
Yeah, I held that jersey a couple
Yeah,
times.
that's right. Yeah. You already had your fingerprints on that thing, I think. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we got another one. I am killing it. This pack is killing it. This is another jersey card. It's autographed, too. Number 5 of 49. Davis Mills rookie card. He's for the Texans. I think he went to Stanford.
Stanford, Fear the Tree. I would say, all right.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, great.
No shade, all right.
All right, yeah. Sorry, Davis.
Sorry, man.
All
Respect,
bro.
but I don't know you.
Yeah, okay. And our last card, another rookie card. This is, I don't know if I can pronounce his name correctly, Panay Sewell.
Ooh, go Ducks.
There
That's
you
my
go.
guy right there. Never met him, but that's my guy because he went to Oregon.
Oregon.
So
all
he's
right.
a, I would say a mauler,
Nice.
an absolute mauler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'm glad we got to end that with an Oregon Duck for you, an Oregon Duck. Do you ever go back to campus?
Yeah, I try to get back at least once a year for
Yeah.
a game, for a home game. I have a lot of family up there, like extended family, because my roommate / like brother for life, Brian Butterfield, his family's up there in Portland. So
Yeah.
whenever I go up there, I try to hang out with him and his family, and I'm his godfather, his son's godfather. So shout out to Butter, shout out to Roman, shout out to the whole family. But yeah, Portland's a second home for me. Oregon's a second home for me in general. Like when it's all said and done, I want to get like a lake house there, go wakeboarding on the Willamette, or just
Beautiful.
anywhere. Like that's second home.
I love Oregon. It's a beautiful part of the country, and you get a lot of swag from Nike. You still got a lot of like your Oregon swag.
I got some of the best.
Yeah.
I still got some of the best stuff. So Oregon does, if you have a professional contract anywhere in any of the major leagues, like you are naturally a Nike athlete.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what sport.
Wow.
So when I retired, they stopped sending me those boxes. They would send you like 2 like swag boxes a year. It would have the Jordan like Oregon shoes in it, sweats, you know, things like that.
Sick.
But I would argue getting a show on air is 100 times harder than making to the NFL. So I think I should still be entitled to those boxes. I still don't get them though.
Nike.
So I'm holding feet to the fire, Nike. Let's talk.
All right. Let's get Phil Knight on the phone here. Come on, and Mr. Oregon. Yeah, I think so. That's a good swag. Well, that leads into our next segment, which is called Cool, Calm, and Collected. I collect a lot of things. I collect sneakers. I collect cards, as you can see. I collect jerseys, homage T-shirts, super soft, comfortable. Got way too many, hundreds of those, all sorts of stuff. I want to know, Spencer Paysinger, what is it that you collect?
I'm a Cancer, so like I can find like sentimental value in anything.
Yeah.
Right now, I've been collecting my movie ticket stubs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I'm finally getting to that point where I can take my kids to the movies, and obviously it's like movies that they can watch. I'm not
Yeah.
taking them to see like Dune or something.
Right.
But I go to the movies at least twice a week.
Wow.
So the pandemic was like hard on me because like that's part of my therapy, just like
Yeah.
going to a movie, shutting it out. So I've started to collect my movie studs because I want to show my daughter, like, these are all the movies we've seen together. And my son, these are all the movies we've seen together. So
Very cool. I like that. Did you bring anything to?
I didn't bring
show
my
up?
ticket stubs, but I brought
That's
something
okay.
to me more meaningful.
Even more
is it
meaningful.
time?
Yeah, it's time.
opening
It's
up?
time. Let's see it. This is show and tell, like back in the day. Let's see.
So these are a little dingy, but these are a pair of old beat up shoes that I can't even make out what brand they are from. So these are my grandfather's work shoes.
Wow.
My grandfather, Carter Paysinger, he lived a great life, but these were the shoes. I think he may have only had one other pair of shoes since switching into these. These were his work shoes around the house. Like anything he did with work, he put these on. They have cobwebs in them. Obviously, you can see like he's still warm even though
Wow.
coming out. But these were the shoes that he did all of his work in. And it's just that constant reminder that after he passed away, like he always had this saying that he's like, you could be lazy, but don't be trifling. That just meant like take a day off, take your rest, have your rest. But if it extends beyond that day or two, you're being trifling. And it was just always that constant reminder that just put the work in. This is a guy that grew up in Plaindeal in Louisiana, part of the Great Migration up to Michigan, then found his way to Los Angeles. And the house that I grew up in is the house that he first bought and raised his family in and gifted it to my dad when I was born. And then he moved to the house that he ended up passing away in. So
Wow.
just his work shoes that it's just a constant reminder. So my plan is to put some grass underneath these, put them in a like glass case, and any office that I have in the future, these will be prominently placed.
That's
So,
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Carter Paysinger senior shoes right here.
Thank you for bringing those to share that with us. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it, man. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. That's really cool and definitely an inspiration. Clearly, you know, what he stood for, what he did, the groundwork he laid for you and the Paysinger family.
He was the prototype. I get a lot of how I treat my wife and my family today from how I just saw him. A lot of people naturally believe, oh, since you went to Beverly Hills High School, that was your view into better things. But I always said, no, it was him, it was my grandmother, it was their house in Ladera Heights, which is a prominent black neighborhood in Los Angeles, where like even if I didn't go to Beverly, I still got to see the better things in this city. So, and it's all because of him.
Wow, that's great. Well, that's an amazing item you brought in, maybe my favorite one we've ever had here on Cool Calm Collected. And it's a nice segue into our final segment called Pay Homage. I mentioned those homage t-shirts that I
Yes.
got, super soft, right?
Yes.
Well, homage is all about storytelling, and we are too here on In the Zone. And they're all about giving you an opportunity to pay homage to someone in your life who helped pave the way for your success, whether it's a friend, a family member, a mentor, someone from afar that maybe you haven't even met, but they inspired you by seeing their example. Who, Spencer Paysinger, do you want to pay homage to?
Man, I mean, there's so many people. I'm gonna say my wife first off before like I get in any trouble before I get home. Even before this airs, she'll like hear it and be like, "Wait, what? You didn't say something about me?" But first off, yeah, absolutely, my wife. She's somebody that has held me down from even last year in college to now. Like, she's somebody that, you know, we always make that joke, like there's no possible way we can have a prenup because I have nothing if she's not there. Like, she was there from before day one. So if we take a turn in our relationship and things are bad, like, take whatever you want, you deserve it. I'd say the second person undoubtedly would be my older brother, Justin. He sort of was the blueprint for me on how to carry myself, on how to be in sports, but not let sports just define you as a person. He's somebody that he was an offensive lineman at San Jose State University, was president of the WAC conference, had to medically retire due to a back injury sustained during practice. But he had done so much for that school and the WAC conference that they decided to pay for his master's program, and he could just pick whatever master's program he wanted to.
Wow.
But still to this day, one of the strongest humans I've ever witnessed. Just an all-around great guy, father of 4, happily married, living in Arizona. But I get my love from football, from seeing him work every morning. My first year, his last year at Beverly. So, yeah.
All right, nice. Well, thank you, Spencer, for sharing so much of your story, your stories about your family, your friends, your All-American journey, and your NFL journey as well. And like I said in the very beginning of the intro, I do feel like you are just getting started. You've already accomplished so much, but this is just the beginning chapters in the book. So I can't wait to see what is next for you. And I want to pay homage to you. I know, unlike some of our guests, you do have trading cards of yourself already, but this is a limited edition Spencer Paysinger in the Zone trading card.
This is my first trading card. I do not have a trading card of myself.
What? Come on.
I'm getting this framed.
Let's go. Okay.
I'm getting this framed. Thank you.
Well, we made 5 of these only. We're going to have you autograph them. One is for you. One is going to go right up here on our wall of fame with all of our guests. And then 3 of them autographed, we're going to give away to our fans and followers on social media. Nice. So make sure you are following us here at In the Zone and that you're also following Spencer on social media. Check out the tag below and we will give those out. But
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Spencer, for sharing your story here with us today and with the world on television shows. And I can't wait for the next script, the next story that you will write, direct, produce, and tell, maybe even act in, too.
We'll see. Maybe acting. But it's been great coming here. It's very appreciative that you had me. I feel covered right now. So
I got you. I got you.
You and the team.
Oh, well, thank you, man. Can't wait for the next time. You'll be back.
Yes.
All right. Now I want to eat that sandwich.
I know.
Okay. All right. Here. We need you to autograph it.